So we have these 6 topics, and then we have several cross-cutting issues that contribute to those 6 areas of research. And they're not in any specific order of priority, but I want to talk about, just briefly summarize those 6 topics. And we have understanding variability in individual responses to diet and foods. And I'm going to come back to that because that's the one that I'm actually the most excited about. I want to talk in some depth about it. But the others include understanding the impact of nutrition on healthy growth, development, and reproduction. And that includes areas of research like epigenetics, early nutrition, and reproductive health. Another is understanding the role of nutrition in health maintenance. And that includes things like energy balance, which of course is one of the biggest topics today, and other aspects of optimal body function that includes things like the immune response, inflammation, cognitive function, muscular development, things like that. Then we need to understand the role of nutrition in medical management. A lot of nutrition is on prevention of disease, optimization of health, but it's also very useful for our clinical researchers in treating patients, preventing recurrence of disease, nutrition support. The 5th topic is understanding nutrition-related behaviors. We have nutrition advice that the government has been giving, health agencies have been giving for decades, and people don't change their behavior. And we need to really understand how we can catalyze those kinds of changes, to how we can drive food choice to healthier items. What's the connection of brain function with making those choices, and how does imprinting affect lifelong choices? So the final topic that we talked about for research priorities is the food supply and environment. And again, how does that affect food choices? Are there new foods and ingredients that can appeal to consumers to get them to choose healthier options? In addition to these 6 nutrition research priorities, there were a number of tools that were identified as cross-cutting to influence all of these 6 areas. Things like omics. And the omics tools are of a wide variety that, again, I'll talk about when I come back to some detail on understanding variability. But the areas that also contribute are bioinformatics. How do we deal with this tsunami of information that we're getting? Databases. How can we improve both the accuracy and the access to these things? The government is mandating now open data being made available from agencies and grant recipients that fund more than $100 million a year. So some of these things include biomarkers, cost-effective analysis that cut across 4, 5, 6 of these areas. So in my final minute, I'd like to just emphasize the excitement that many of us feel about variability in individual response to diet and foods. And omics is probably the biggest category, and under that there are many omics that you've heard about: genomics, proteomics, metabolomics. These will also include epigenetic changes and development of new biomarkers. The microbiome is being investigated not just in humans with NIH funding, but in USDA with the microbiome of the soil, microbiome of food animals, and how all of these things relate to each other. We're learning that the microbiome controls many of the processes in the human body that we thought were exclusively mammalian-based. And turns out the little critters in and on us have an effect on our own physiology. Another hot topic is biological networks. We're in an RNA world. MicroRNA is found in foods. It seems to be absorbed from food into the body. It seems to circulate in the plasma and has an effect on chronic diseases. So all of the enzymatic pathways you've learned isn't enough. There's a new roadmap for thousands of microRNAs that we eat every day. There are a number of organisms in the external environment, so it's not just the microbiome in our intestine, it's bacteria and viruses that transiently colonize our nose, our mouth, our intestinal tract. And then finally, there's tissue specificity and temporality. It's how nutrients can target at specific times different organs in the body to influence health. So I think if you haven't been able to find some topic in here that excites you, you really haven't read this carefully enough, and you need to go back and go through this, because this is something that I think is going to really excite the entire nutrition field for the next decades. Thank you.
Fabulous.